Okay, good morning everyone, and thank you for attending our webinar for what you need to know about email encryption. We're going to cover a broad list of topics today and rather quickly. You'll find that actually as big of a deal as email encryption is nowadays and as hot of a topic as it seems to be, especially recently, it's actually a rather simple thing. It's something that most companies and agencies can adopt without a lot of cost to get started. And it's largely a matter of just a lot of decision making, training, and then putting your practices into good use. So for starters, what is encryption? You might hear that term all the time when browsing the web or doing other things on computers. And encryption is defined as converting data into a code. So quite simply, it's like scrambling info with like a certain algorithm or like a math equation, and then that can be unscrambled at a later time. Some other common uses for encryption are something called SSL, if you've ever been to a secure website. If you're noticing that the address of the site says HTTPS, that's a secure website, and the browsers display a little lock on the bottom. That's website encryption. A lot of new laptops and computers do encryption on their data. Even new flash drives nowadays have encryption capabilities if you get a commercial brand flash drive. So encryption is a general computer term that's used in a wide variety of applications. So why would we want to encrypt email or use email encryption? With email encryption, you can safely send email to a recipient without that information being accessible by either hackers or just unintended recipients. You can make sure that if you accidentally send it to the wrong address, that person's not going to know how to decrypt or unscramble that message and get stuff that they shouldn't. And that can help you prevent liability issues, give greater peace of mind to your clients. You know, there's talk all the time on the news about data losses and breaches where customers' confidential information was let loose and made available in the public or at least around the internet. So your clients would probably have a much greater comfort level with you knowing that you're embracing some of these more advanced and secure technologies. And then compliance. We'll outline some security acts that have passed that actually require in a lot of different realms to encrypt certain types of information, and that's why I assume most people are actually watching our webinar today, is to figure out what things that they're reliable to do and take care of. So there are a lot of state regulations out there that talk about data protection. There are over 40 states now that are requiring companies to notify individuals whose data has been lost or stolen. Now think about what that might be as far as your company goes. That might be addressing an email with Social Security information or other personal health information to the wrong place and that email just getting into the wrong hands. That could also be something as simple as taking a backup tape off site and it falling out of your pocket or your purse or your jacket. So now there's a backup tape floating in the public with all of your information. It doesn't even have to be like a complicated hacker attack or intrusion or anything like that, like you hear about the big things. Even the small things and any kind of data that's been lost or stolen or made available. 40 states now requiring you to let all your customers know. A few states go even further to protect consumer information. And I've got a couple examples. I'm not going to talk about what all states are doing because there's a lot of different regulations out there. But Nevada, for example, they're required encryption to protect customer information, but companies could actually face fines and civil penalties there. And this is becoming more and more common in a lot of states. But that's all information. That's not just what's required or deemed personal information. Massachusetts, as another example of a different ways states are going, is their laws actually extend to businesses in any state that transmit information about a Massachusetts resident. So even if you're not doing business in that state, but you're emailing about someone that lives there, all of their laws do affect you. So it's very, very cumbersome to understand and know all these laws. That's why you probably want to touch base with your E&O specialist and see what kind of laws and regulations and privacy and security acts that you fall under. The most common one I think many agencies know about is HIPAA. the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act passed in 1996. The HIPAA privacy rule provides federal protections for personal health information, or PHI, held by covered entities and given patients an array of rights with respect to that information. At the same time, the privacy rule is balanced so that it permits the disclosure of personal health information needed for patient care and other purposes. More importantly to you, the security rule specifies a series of administrative, physical, and technical safeguards, which have to be put in place to assure confidentiality and integrity of this information. To find out more about the exact stipulations in the security rules of HIPAA, which is what you want to most be concerned with as far as computer security goes, you can visit the website listed here as a resource. That's hhs.gov, which is the Health and Human Services government website, and under the OCR and then privacy is where you'll find information about HIPAA. If you're doing any kind of life and health, this is pertaining to you. The HITECH Act, which is the newest act that has taken effect that most people have got the encryption bug from, was part of the ARRA, or the American Reinvestment and Recovery Act, went into effect on February 17th, so it is in effect now. So the HITECH contains stipulations about PHI again, or personal health information, and that includes anything about health statuses, personal information, provision of care, payment details, etc. So again, if you're dealing with any kind of transmission of this information, whether it be just the disease or ailments or pre-existing conditions customers have, their personal information such as address, social security information, group numbers, and so forth, any kind of payment details like credit card information and so on. If you're dealing with and transmitting any kind of this information, this does pertain to you. Interestingly enough, the term encryption actually does not appear within the HITECH Act. Requirements outlined in the Act point to encryption as a solution for compliance, but they actually don't require encryption, even though that's really what it's getting to and what you do need to take care of. For the full and specific HITECH Act, you can also visit the hhs.gov for that. You can look under the HIPAA section under What's New, or simply search for HITECH, and you'll get the whole stipulations there. There's another great site which I recommend everyone going to, and that's HITECHanswers.net. Answers to most common questions that agencies have about HITECH. No, it's not a government site, but it is one of the best resources out there that we've found, that we've referred a lot of clients to. So now what? Now, we know about these acts. You've heard about them. It's probably why you're listening to this. And you need to know, first of all, does your state require encryption? Michigan does as far as the HIPAA and HITECH goes. Do you transmit PHI via email? Again, that's personal health information. If you don't do life and health, then you're not falling under the HITECH or the HIPAA acts. But are you dealing with any kind of other personal or secure information that any other state acts deal with that you're actually doing business for? Because this email encryption or encryption itself isn't just related around HIPAA and HITECH, even though those are the latest catalysts for everybody to start using it and thinking about it and talking about it. Are there other requirements from third-party vendors or vendors that you deal with? We've got a lot of customers out there that have been doing email encryption for quite some time. If you're dealing a lot with banks or with a health organization like Blue Cross Blue Shield, you might already have one or two people that do email encryption with them. They might not even realize what they're doing, but I'll explain with a couple of the different encryption solutions how they work and what your people actually have to do. So now that you've determined that you probably need some kind of an email encryption solution, we need to know what to look for in choosing that solution, and I'll help you with that out. You want something that's obviously easy to use, doesn't require much change in workflows, if any at all. It's nice